Have you ever thought about someone, and suddenly the phone rang, and it was that very person? Have you ever felt a tightness in your chest, a strange uneasiness, and shortly after learned of bad news that hit you hard? Or maybe you've woken up from a dream so vivid, so real, it felt like a warning, a whisper from the universe? These moments happen, and they happen more often than we realize. Some call it intuition, others coincidence. But deep down we all feel, in some way, that something greater is at play. Something invisible yet real. Have you ever experienced something like this? These moments strike us because they break conventional logic. They make us ask, how is this possible? Why did I feel that when nothing had happened yet? Could it be that we're more connected than we think? And what if I told you that science, yes, science, is beginning to provide answers? A new frontier of human knowledge is opening up. A place where physics, biology, and consciousness meet. A place where what you feel matters just as much as what you think. Where the invisible may be more real than the visible. Maybe you're not just feeling things. Maybe there's something deep within you, and between you and everything else, that can actually be explained. Or at least felt more clearly. Today, we're going to explore this together. Quantum entanglement, the subconscious, emotions that travel through space, thoughts that shape reality. Get ready for a journey that blends science, emotion, and the mystery of being alive. Do you feel something you can't explain? Science might have the answer. Imagine two particles created together like twin sisters. At some point, they're separated. One goes to Paris, the other to Tokyo. And even though they're thousands of miles apart, when one moves, the other responds. Instantly. No delay. No warning. As if they were still one and the same. This is what physics calls quantum entanglement. Albert Einstein was so puzzled by this phenomenon that he nicknamed it spooky action at a distance. Because according to classical logic, this shouldn't be possible. But it is. And it's been proven. In 1981, French physicist Alain Aspect conducted one of the most important experiments in the history of quantum physics. He demonstrated that, yes, entangled particles do in fact influence each other, even when separated by space. This went beyond what Einstein believed was possible. It showed that reality is connected by invisible threads that don't follow the rules of time and space as we know them. It's as if the universe has secret shortcuts. But what does that have to do with you? Well, everything. If everything that exists is made of particles, atoms, electrons, protons, and you are made of the same stuff, could your consciousness also be entangled with that of others? Could there be invisible connections between you and the world around you, just waiting to be felt? Quantum science is only beginning to explore this. We're not talking about magic, but about a new understanding of reality. Back in 1964, physicist John Bell had already proposed a theorem that changed everything. He showed that if entanglement were real, and it is, then the universe is non-local. In other words, events can influence each other across distance without any visible signal. It's as if the entire universe were one living organism, in constant dialogue with itself. Separation is an illusion, said physicist David Bohm. And if that illusion starts to fall apart, you may realize something powerful. Maybe that sudden thought, that unexplained feeling, that chill in your stomach, isn't just yours. Maybe you're picking up something beyond logic. Something that vibrates in someone else. Something that echoes through the invisible field that connects us. Everything vibrates. Everything emits information. And when two consciousnesses are deeply linked through love, through history, through energy, that bridge between them can be as real as any road. Quantum entanglement is not just physics. It's a living metaphor for what we feel. It's what explains why you wake up in the middle of the night, restless, and find out something happened to someone you love. It's what may explain why certain encounters feel written in the stars. Why some connections defy time, logic, and distance. And if the world is, in fact, a vast field of information, where every living being is a pulsing point in this infinite web, then maybe, just maybe, that feeling you can't explain is the universe whispering to you. You are not alone. Have you ever found yourself repeating patterns without understanding why? Have you noticed that even when you want to change, something deeper seems to pull you back? That is your subconscious at work. According to neuroscientists, between 90 and 95% of our daily thoughts, behaviors, and decisions come from the subconscious. In other words, most of your life is being guided by invisible programs that you don't even realize are there. Visuals: a child watching their parents argue, years later, the adult repeating similar patterns. The wheel of life spinning in circles. From a young age, we absorb everything. Like sponges. Emotions, traumas, beliefs, fears, all of it gets recorded in our internal software. Bruce Lipton, cellular biologist and author of The Biology of Belief, explains that the subconscious doesn't think. It simply runs whatever was programmed into it. You can say 1,000 times that you're capable, but if deep inside you still feel small, that's the vibration the universe picks up. But what if you could access that deeper field of your mind? And more, what if that field wasn't limited to your brain? For over 30 years, the HeartMath Institute in California has studied something extraordinary: the electromagnetic field of the heart. They discovered that the heart emits a field about 100 times stronger electrically and 5,000 times stronger magnetically than the brain. And this field, believe it or not, communicates with the environment. In experiments involving meditation and states of heart coherence, researchers observed that when someone enters a state of deep gratitude, peace, or love, the field around that person changes. And even more astonishing, people nearby, without knowing why, also enter states of calm and balance. Your heart speaks louder than your words. This brings us to a revolutionary idea. Maybe your subconscious is in constant dialogue with the world around you. Not through words, but through frequencies, emotions, vibrations. There are documented experiments where two individuals meditating in different locations entered into brain and heart synchrony without knowing each other. Entanglement? The field? Or something science hasn't yet named? Maybe it's all of the above. Physics has shown us that everything is energy. Biology has revealed that we are made of sensitive, vibrating systems, constantly receiving and emitting signals. And now, neuroscience and psychology are telling us the subconscious is the bridge between what we feel and what we manifest. When you have a thought, it creates an emotion. When that emotion is repeated, it becomes a state of being. And that state becomes your dominant vibration. And guess what? That's the frequency that connects you to the field. The universe doesn't respond to what you wish for with your rational mind. It responds to what you vibrate from your subconscious heart. That's why, sometimes, even when we ask for good things, we keep attracting the same challenges. Because deep inside, we still believe in lack, fear, or unworthiness. But here's the good news. This field can be reprogrammed. And the first step is becoming aware of what was once unconscious. When you calm your mind, breathe deeply, and enter states of presence, you access the frequency where the subconscious can listen. Meditation, conscious breathing, genuine gratitude. These aren't just spiritual practices. They are inner technologies, tools to align body, mind, and emotion, and in doing so, change your frequency from the inside out. Remember, your subconscious is not the enemy. It's simply a messenger. And when you learn to speak its language, the language of images, emotions, and repetition, you begin to transform your reality. Maybe, more than a brain, you are a living field of consciousness, pulsing in rhythm with the cosmos. And what you feel, even if you can't explain it, might actually be the purest form of wisdom. Now take a deep breath. Close your eyes for a moment and try to recall a feeling you couldn't explain. Maybe it was a strange night, a sudden chill, an unexpected cry, a peace you couldn't name. All of us, at some point, have felt the invisible touch us. Today, we'll explore stories that seem impossible until they happen to us. The dream of the accident. Clara woke up with her heart racing, her breath short. A nightmare had shaken her awake in the middle of the night. In the dream, her younger brother Raphael was in a car accident. She saw the wet road, the car flipping, and woke up at the exact moment he screamed her name. Frightened, she looked at the clock. 3:17 a.m. She thought about calling but decided to wait until morning. It was just a dream, she told herself. Just my imagination. At 8 a.m., the phone rang. It was their mother, in tears. Raphael had been in an accident on the highway, driving home from work. The time of the crash? Around 3:15 a.m. He survived with minor injuries. But Clara never doubted what she felt that night again. It was like he was screaming from inside me, she would say years later. Was it intuition? Or could the bond between siblings cross time and space, activating signals only the heart can understand? Pain from a distance. Leonardo and Felipe had been friends since childhood. They shared secrets, struggles, and triumphs. Even after life took them to different cities, their connection remained strong. One afternoon, Leonardo was home reading when he felt a sharp pain in his chest. Sudden, like an emotional blow. A deep sadness, paired with a wave of unexplained discomfort. He stood up, restless. Tried to focus. Nothing worked. It felt like something inside him was breaking. The next morning, he learned that Felipe's father had passed away, at that very hour. Unexpectedly. I didn't know what was happening, Leonardo said, but I felt that he was suffering. These stories aren't exceptions. They're expressions of something science is just beginning to explore, that our emotions don't stay contained within the skin. They spill out, they travel, they connect. Studies with experienced meditators have shown that hearts can enter coherence even across long distances. Brain waves syncing, heartbeats harmonizing. It's as if there were a field where emotion travels without ticket, without warning, without delay. And in that field, our deepest feelings, like love, compassion, and pain, find a voice. Love is the strongest frequency in the universe, said Greg Braden. The intuition that saved a life. Sylvia was about to leave the house when she felt discomfort in her chest. An inner voice whispered, "Go back." She paused, tried to shake it off, but the feeling persisted. She returned. When she opened the door, she found her elderly father collapsed on the floor. He had suffered the early stages of a heart attack just minutes before. If she had ignored that feeling, she might not have had time to help him. She couldn't explain what she felt. She just knew. Are we really isolated? Or are we living immersed in a living field, where every emotion is a whisper sent to those we're connected with? Science calls it the quantum field. HeartMath calls it the field of the heart. Others call it the collective unconscious, intuition, or spirituality. But maybe they're all talking about the same thing, with different names. The unspoken goodbye. Marina and her grandmother were always very close. When her grandmother fell ill and was hospitalized, Marina was in another city finishing college. She never got to say goodbye. On the night her grandmother passed, Marina woke up with the sensation of being hugged. A warmth wrapped around her for a few seconds. A presence. She cried without understanding why. But deep down she knew. By morning, she received the news. Years later, she still says, "I didn't need to hear it. I felt it. She said goodbye to me in the most beautiful way." These experiences may seem subjective, but their power lies exactly there, in the raw emotion they carry, in the fact that, despite logic, we know they are real. They move us because they echo something we've all felt, even if we can't explain it. This is where science and the soul meet. What is essential is invisible to the eye. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. What if we learned to trust what we feel a little more? What if, instead of dismissing the unexplainable, we began listening more carefully? Maybe life is far more than a sequence of isolated events. Maybe it's a vast field of invisible connections, where every thought, every emotion, every bond weaves the fabric of reality. And maybe everything you feel, even without understanding it, is a truth vibrating somewhere else in the universe. Imagine your mind is a garden. Throughout your life, seeds have been planted there, some of love, courage, trust. Others of fear, scarcity, insecurity. And now, you walk through that garden every day, often without realizing it's growing on autopilot. But what if you could plant new seeds? What if you could consciously choose the emotions, thoughts, and beliefs you want to see bloom? Science shows that you can. This process is called subconscious reprogramming, and it begins with a simple yet powerful truth. You are not a prisoner of your mind. You are its gardener. According to neuroscience, the brain is plastic, meaning it can change throughout life. This phenomenon is known as neuroplasticity. Every time you repeat a thought, emotion, or action, you strengthen a neural connection. It's like digging a deeper groove along a path. The subconscious works like a recorder. It learns through repetition, emotion, and mental imagery. That's why certain songs bring you to tears or make you smile. That's why you react automatically to certain triggers, even if you don't want to. But here's the good news. If it was programmed, it can be reprogrammed. Let's see how. Intentional meditation. When you meditate, especially in deep relaxation, your brain shifts from beta, alert, waves into alpha and theta waves, which are associated with the subconscious. In those moments, your mind becomes more malleable. It's like opening a door to speak with your deepest self. And that's when you can introduce new information, with positive imagery, emotions of gratitude, and affirmations that reprogram your identity. Visualize yourself living the life you want. Feel in detail what it would be like to wake up in that place, to breathe that air, to love who you've become. Don't think with your head. Feel it with your heart. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. Joe Dispenza. Creative visualization. Your brain doesn't distinguish between reality and imagination when you're in an emotionally charged state. Studies with athletes have shown that visualizing a movement in detail activates the same brain regions as physically performing it. In other words, imagining with emotion is as powerful as doing. Create mental scenes of what you wish to experience. And most importantly, feel worthy of it. Emotion is the glue that binds the visualization. Without it, it's just thought. With it, it's creation. Nighttime reprogramming. Before sleep, your brain naturally enters alpha and theta waves. This is the best time to plant new beliefs. Avoid ending the day with negative news or chaotic social media. Instead, listen to positive affirmations. Reflect on a moment of your day with gratitude. Visualize how you want tomorrow to unfold. Daily repetition of this practice creates a new vibrational signature. And remember, you don't attract what you want. You attract what you resonate with. Emotion, the fuel of transformation. Nothing changes in the subconscious without emotion. You must feel deeply what you wish to live. The body records everything. It gets used to sadness, fear, urgency. But it can also get used to calm, joy, abundance. The consistent practice of entering these positive emotional states teaches your body what it feels like to live that new reality before it even arrives. Change your inner world, and the outer world reorganizes to reflect who you've become. Practicing this is like changing the station on a radio. As long as you're tuned into guilt, fear, or lack, what you hear are experiences that match that frequency. But when you shift your vibration, everything around you changes too. The people who show up, the opportunities that arise, the ideas that flow. You begin to connect with a new field of possibilities. And that field is quantum. This isn't about superficial, positive thinking. It's about embodying a new vibrational identity, feeling what you want to become until you are. Reality doesn't respond to empty words. It responds to coherent vibrations. What if you weren't a separate being drifting through an indifferent world? What if, in truth, you were a note in a cosmic symphony that plays endlessly, even if we can't hear it? Modern physics is beginning to embrace an idea that for centuries was considered too poetic. But maybe poetry has always been a language of truth. At the deepest level, everything is connected by a single energy, an invisible field vibrating through all things and all beings. This concept is known as the unified field. Figures like David Bohm, theoretical physicist and collaborator of Einstein, and Nassim Haramein, who studies the geometry of space-time, argue that the universe is not a collection of separate parts, but one living, pulsing, interconnected organism. David Bohm spoke of an implicate order, a deeper layer of reality where everything is already connected, in a non-linear way, beyond matter, beyond time. And what does this mean for you? It means you are not in the universe. You are the universe, manifesting for a brief moment as you. Everything you feel, think, and emit nourishes this field. And at the same time, this field nourishes you. It's like a great cosmic internet, but instead of data, it transmits emotions, intentions, frequencies. Every thought you have is like a drop falling into the ocean of reality, and that drop shifts the wave. Even if only subtly, you are a cell in the body of a living universe. Nassim Haramein. In the quantum view, the whole is present in every part. And if everything is entangled in this field, then when you heal a part of yourself, something in the world changes. When you choose love instead of hate, you generate a new wave in the field. When you forgive, even in silence, you alter the frequency around you. The universe doesn't need you to be perfect. It only needs you to remember that you're part of it. And when you align with what's truest in you, when you feel gratitude, when you vibrate in coherence, when you genuinely wish good, you tune yourself to the frequency of this unified field. And everything begins to flow more gently. You are not separate. You never were. You are part of a living, loving network that responds to your deepest vibration. And within this field, which some call God, others the source or quantum energy, you are both the creator and the creation. Throughout this journey, maybe you remembered something you've always known, but never knew how to explain. Maybe that shiver, that strange feeling, that dream that came true wasn't just a coincidence. Maybe you're more connected than you realize. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. Your vibration speaks louder than your words. Your heart sends signals the world can feel. Your mind, when aligned with love, intention, and presence, becomes a subtle antenna, tuned to the field of all that exists. You are not alone. You never were. The pain you feel, the joy you radiate, the thoughts you nurture, they all travel beyond your skin, beyond your story. You are a thread in an invisible web, a note within a cosmic symphony. And every time you choose to know yourself, to heal, to rise, you light up a point in that web. You change reality, not because it's magical, but because you are part of the miracle of being alive. Now, maybe only one question remains. Who do you choose to be from this moment on, knowing that everything vibrates with you? Look at your life with new eyes. Listen to what once seemed like noise. Feel what you once ignored. And if you can, pause for a moment. Breathe. And notice what's alive inside, even if it has no name. Maybe that's your most real part, the one that's always known. You feel something you can't explain, and maybe now you don't need to. Just feel it.